Welcome to Talk Tickers. Today, we are tearing down Woodward's absolutely explosive Q4 earnings report. And look, this wasn't just a beat. It was a major statement, one that sent the stock rocketing to all-time highs. So let's get right into it. That number right there, that was the market's instant reaction the day after the earnings call. A huge gap up on massive, massive volume. So the big question is, what in the world did Woodward report that lit such a fire under the stock? Let's break down the numbers. The whole story here really starts with a classic blowout. We're talking a significant top and bottom line beat that seems to have caught Wall Street completely flat-footed and totally reset expectations for the year ahead. First up, the top line. Revenue came in at $995 million for the fourth quarter. Now, to put that in perspective, the consensus on the street was around $934 million, so they didn't just beat, they blew right past it by almost 7%. But honestly, the earnings power was even more impressive. Adjusted earnings per share hit $2.09. That smashed expectations by over 12%. And get this, it represents a staggering 48% growth year over year. The key takeaway here is simple. The company isn't just growing, it's growing incredibly profitably. So let's just put this all together so you can see it clearly. The beat was clean, right across the board. You've got 16.5% revenue growth year over year, and that incredible 48% pop in adjusted EPS. I mean, this is the kind of powerful performance that forces Wall Street to completely reevaluate a company's entire story. Okay, so a beat is one thing, but why did it happen? To really get the story, you gotta pop the hood and see what's powering this machine. Let's dig into the different segments and see what's really going on. And here it is, the engine of the whole company right now, aerospace. It brought in $661 million, which is roughly 2/3 of all revenue this quarter. It's just being fueled by this relentless post-pandemic travel boom. Aerospace was the clear heavyweight champion here, no question about it. And if you look at the actual performance, the picture gets even clearer. Aerospace sales just skyrocketed, up 20% year over year. But the real story, the thing that gets analysts excited, is margin expansion. A massive 520 basis point jump. That's a 5.2% improvement, by the way, to 24.4%. Industrial also did really well, with 11% growth and solid margins, so it's showing really broad-based strength. So where exactly did all this growth come from? Well, in aerospace, it was all about booming demand for commercial flights and just really robust defense spending. And in the industrial segment, their core business was firing on all cylinders, led by power generation and oil and gas. And the strength was so profound, it more than covered for some noted weakness in the China truck market, which is a key headwind they are just navigating beautifully. And you could just hear the confidence coming directly from management on the call. The CEO, Chip Blankenship, he called it a remarkable year that drove record performance. So in their minds, this wasn't just a good quarter. It was a total validation of their entire strategy. And that confidence, it translated directly into a really strong forecast for fiscal 2026. They're guiding for total sales to grow another 7 to 12%, with adjusted EPS targeted between $7.50 and $8. So the message is clear. This was not a one-off quarter. Management is signaling that this momentum is here to stay. So, with a massive earnings beat and some super bullish guidance, how did investors react? Well, they didn't exactly hesitate. The market delivered a swift, decisive, and very powerful verdict. Okay, let's go all the way back to that opening number. The stock closed around $261 before the call. The very next day, it closed above $293. That is a nearly $32.5 gain in a single day. That right there is what a massive vote of confidence from Wall Street looks like. And here's what's so important. This move happened on enormous volume. Over 1.6 million shares changed hands. That's roughly 3 times its normal daily average. This tells you it wasn't just passive buying. This was a flood of big institutional capital chasing the stock higher. That signals real conviction. Which, of course, brings us to the most important question of all. What happens on the next call? After a move like this, what's the forward-looking story from here? Where do we go? So this is the crucial question for any investor looking at Woodward right now. After a 12% jump straight to all-time highs, is all the good news already baked in? Or is there still more room for the stock to run?
For us, our rating on Woodward is a clear outperform. We absolutely believe the fundamental story here supports further upside, even from these new elevated levels.
And here's exactly why. First, that powerful commercial aerospace cycle, it has long legs. Second, the margin expansion we just saw has real momentum behind it. Plus, they just landed a brand new contract with Airbus for the A350, which deepens a really key relationship. And then, the cherry on top. They announced a massive $1.8 times billion share buyback program. That's a huge tailwind for the stock that should easily offset any lingering weakness elsewhere.
So based on all this momentum, we're lifting our price target to $345 a share. This actually aligns us with some of the most bullish analysts on the street, like UBS, who also see a clear path for the company to keep executing and for the stock to follow right along.
All right, and now for our outrageous but plausible trade idea. Right after the earnings report, we saw some unusually aggressive buying of out-of-the-money call options. So the trade is to follow that signal. You could buy call options a few months out, maybe with a strike price around $320. It's basically a leveraged way to bet on more upside, and your risk is limited to what you pay for the option. It's an aggressive bet that the big money is just getting started here.
This is not financial advice.